What's going on YouTube? I am back and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I take effective notes using my iPad Pro as a college student. So on the left side you're going to see my iPad Pro, it's the 10.5 rose gold version, and then on the right side it's a little Apple Pencil case by Belkin. It is a hard shell case and I absolutely love it because this keeps my Apple Pencil secure in my backpack, so that way I don't have to worry about it breaking in my backpack. So inside the Apple Pencil case is my Apple Pencil obviously, and it also has a little slide out drawer for your Apple Pencil accessories such as your extra tip, your lightning adapter, and when you're charging you can put your cap right there. My Apple Pencil does have a skin on it. It is by Slick Wraps and it's the vintage Apple Pencil kind of Apple look. So I'm going to put the link to this one also in the description box and also to the case in the description box. The case is a little pricey, it's about 30 bucks, but I think it's well worth it because of the level of protection that it offers. And then if you're wondering what exactly this is for, it's just to put your Apple Pencil in as kind of like a stand while you're writing. And it's a little wobbly because of the skin, so that changes the width of the Apple Pencil. But if it wasn't for the skin, it would fit very snugly in there. But yeah, so it's essentially just so you have an option to just rest your pencil somewhere while you're taking notes. So let's go ahead and check out exactly how I take notes. I'm going to go ahead and put the Apple Pencil case to the side, and let's look at the iPad exactly. So on my iPad, I have it set up very simplistic setup, and of course on this page there's just one Chrome. I don't know why that's there. I think I may have downloaded it on my iPhone and it just automatically downloaded. So, but yeah, I use Safari primarily, and then of course I have my photos and all that stuff open down here. And for those of you wondering, this is running on iOS 11. It is on a public beta version. I think it's number 7 or 8, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is iOS 11, so yours may look a little different unless you're enrolled in the public beta. In that case, you will be seeing the same things I am. But all the functionality, everything else is the same. It's just the looks of it, and some of the aesthetic differences are going to be noticeable to you guys. So I use Notability. And in Notability, I find it really cool because I'm going to pick this up. I'm just going to slide it. You can see right here, it shows me my notebooks per se. So I have all my notebooks. I'm taking ecology, immunology, microbiology, molecular genetics, and I also teach general chemistry. So that's going to be right there. It's going to kind of be my SI notebook. So as you can see, it's very cleanly divided, and it's really cool because it'll file everything. As long as you manually file it, everything will be in one place for you to have. And Notability does sync up to your MacBook also, or I'm pretty sure it'll sync if you have Windows, but it'll sync to your MacBook through iCloud, so which is really cool because that way I have all my notes wherever I go on whatever device, even on my iPhone. So let's open up my immunology notes just as kind of a example. So as you can see, my notes are pretty, oh, whoops. That's not what I want. So yeah, it's gonna get some getting used to because you're not gonna scroll with this. You're gonna scroll with your finger. So as you can see, my notes are pretty well laid out, and they are just they just follow along with the lecture. And my immunology professor does not actually put up PowerPoint, so it's all handwritten notes in this class. Which is really, the way I like to do it anyway. I take handwritten notes regardless of if there's a PowerPoint on the screen or not. But yeah, so as you can see, I tend to take very good detailed notes with a bunch of arrows and highlight everywhere. And yeah, so I find it really cool that using Notability on my iPad, I can just essentially, what I do is I zoom in to these lines. So I've set it up as college ruled. So I'm going to show you guys that real quick. So up here on the top right corner, there's a settings button. You can click paper, and then there's different colors and different lines and everything. So I've set it as college ruled because that's what I've become accustomed to in the years leading up to college. So I tend to zoom in on these lines so that way it kind of becomes a wide ruled, but just so it's a little more precise when I'm writing exactly. So for example, let's say I was taking notes on, I guess, the adaptive immune system, right? So I could just go adaptive immune system. So as you can see, it kind of looks like it's wide ruled, but then when I zoom out, it goes back to college rule, so then it looks much cleaner and much more sophisticated, for lack of better terms. But yeah, so I definitely really like Notability as my primary note-taking app because Notability has so many functions just packed into it. As you can see, you can take notes just writing, or you can, type if you want to. It'll type everything out, so just blah, blah, blah. It'll type anything you want. Or if you want to highlight, you can go ahead and select different colors and different pen styles and all of this, the pen width and all that stuff. So all of that is really, really, really detailed, and everything is, kind of very well thought out in this app. And then the eraser app is really cool because you just kind of circle out, but I can't erase text like that, so I'd have to erase something like this. So just do that and it'll kill the word. Or if you just want to erase a letter, just tap on the letter and it's gone, because it predicts and it sees exactly how you've written it out, and you can erase very, very fine, minuscule details. And yeah, so Notability also has some functions. So let's go back up to my notes here. So here, let's say we're talking about, again, we're talking about the adaptive immune system and the innate immune system and stuff like that. So as you can see, I drew a little, a couple little figures, but let's say I wanted to add a couple detailed figure. I could go ahead and go into the plus and then photo, and then all photos, and I just have one photo. So essentially it'll pick it up, and then I can literally just drag it in and just add it directly to my notes. So now there's a picture in my notes that isn't necessarily available to everyone, which is really cool because I just pulled that image off of Google, and it's a really cool image. And then of course, if you zoom in, you can see exactly what the image is, and then you can mark it up as you would on a normal image or a piece of paper with a picture on it. So I can just essentially star this, or box this in. Sorry for my pretty shitty boxing. I'm just trying to do it with one hand in an awkward position. So yeah, so this is a really, really great way to take notes, I feel, is using Notability. And again, like I said, Notability has so much stuff in here that is just something that really, can elevate your notes to the next level. Like you can add a web clip, figures, you can even add a GIF or GIF, however you prefer it, or photos, take a photo. I think what's really cool is stickies, is where you can actually add kind of like a post-it note, so you can remind yourself, hey, study this or don't study this, stuff like that. But yeah, and then there's also another cool feature of Notability, and this really helps when you're trying to take notes working in conjunction with something else. So essentially, if I have some PowerPoints up, so you can work in split screen, right? So for the purposes of this, let's just take Safari, and let's drag it up here. Oh, there we go. So you're gonna drag Safari up here, pick that up, drag it up here. So now it's going to pop up Safari, and as you can see, you can kind of switch back and forth from Notability. And if I wanted to just circle this up, you can kind of push in. I'm still learning how to do this since this is a beta, so there we go. So now it's completely split screen, and you can go ahead and change the width of each bar as you please, or you could obviously work in landscape mode also, but I prefer to work in portrait mode just because that's the way a piece of paper is usually oriented. But yeah, if you wanted to close that out, you just drag it out, and there you go, you're back to full screen Notability. But I think what's really cool about Notability is, like I said, if you're working with PowerPoint, for the purpose of this, like I said, my immunology does not have a PowerPoint, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into my ecology, and then I'm gonna pick this picture, just for the purposes of this demonstration. So essentially, you could click, this little cutout image up here, and then it'll let you either square it or just kind of like free draw the cut. So essentially, if I was to just do this and just grab, boom. So now I could hit copy, and I would go back into my immunology notes, and this is cool because you can do it across other notes. And then if I was to tap it and hit paste, it would pop up my image, and then you can add captions, and you can kind of move it around and make it bigger and smaller, which is really cool because when you're trying to take notes, let's say using a PowerPoint like I was, you can take PowerPoint pictures and put them directly into your notes, and then that way it gives your notes kind of a dynamic vibe, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of have a visual representation of exactly what you're doing. But yeah, so this is technically the number one app, in my opinion, obviously, to take notes. There are other notes. I think there's a Good Notes or something like that, but I really do think Notability knocks it out of the park just because of all the functionality that packs in, and also the ability for you to kind of sync your notes across your devices. And I know there's other note-taking apps that do that, obviously, but I think Notability just is just uncomparable. It's really, really good. I absolutely love it. And when you combine Notability with the functionality of an iOS 11 running iPad Pro, it just really, really takes it to the next level. And I do think that Notability has changed the game when it comes to taking notes as a college student. And this is how I take notes. Now, I recently got this iPad Pro, maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I just started my new semester. First day, it was a game changer. I realized that this ability to take notes and have it ready to go on every device and just have so many options and so much functionality packed into such a small little device. An iPad Pro is not small in the traditional sense of the word, but of course, it is really thin and compact, and it prevents you from having to take around 5 notebooks. Instead, you just carry around one iPad, an Apple Pencil, and a case, and that's all you need. So if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions on how I could kind of improve my note taking, or if you want some suggestions on how I take such detailed notes, and how I go about structuring how I take notes on the iPad, shoot me a comment, shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. And before I go, one last thing I'm going to talk about is Notability actually lets you record lectures directly from the app. So essentially, like, if you're taking notes and if you want to play back what the professor is saying, you can actually take notes like directly, not notes, you can record directly from the app, and then if you hit stop, it'll stop, and then you can go back and you can listen to it. And then I'm going to delete it because I don't need it, but I'll delete it later. But yeah, so that is how I take notes using my 10.5-inch iPad. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to shoot me an email, and I will definitely get back to you. So I hope you liked that video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope it, if you were on the fence of getting an iPad, whether you're a college student, high school student, or a professional grad student, whatever, I hope this video kind of changed your opinion on whether or not to get it and made your mind up. It's a really great device, and it's a really great app. Combine those two, and you just get an unparalleled level of note taking. So I hope you like this video, and don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.